You are in the middle of a conversation. Maybe it's with a friend at lunch, maybe it's with a colleague in a meeting, maybe it's just you and your spouse watching something quiet on television at night. And right in the middle of it, without warning, you feel it again. That thick, sticky, almost rubbery sensation climbing up the back of your throat. You try to ignore it. You swallow. You take a sip of whatever is nearby, and within 60 seconds, it is back, heavier than before. So you clear your throat, and for a brief, wonderful moment, it is gone. Then it returns. That is the part that nobody talks about. Not the mucus itself, but the relentlessness of it. The fact that it never fully goes. The fact that you wake up with it. You carry it through your entire day, and you go to sleep with it still sitting there. Some of you have been doing this for 6 months, some of you for 2 years. Some of you honestly cannot remember the last morning you woke up and your throat felt completely clear. And I want you to know something. You are not imagining it. You are not being dramatic, and you are absolutely not alone. But more importantly, this is the part I really need you to hear. What you have been told is causing this is almost certainly wrong, and every remedy you have tried has failed because of that misdiagnosis. Stay with me, because what I am about to share with you in the next few minutes is the explanation that most doctors never give, and once you hear it, everything is going to click into place. I am Dr. Calloway, and this is one of the most common complaints I see in my practice, particularly in patients over the age of 55. People arrive in my office having already spent months, sometimes years, chasing the wrong answers. They have been told it's allergies, that it's postnasal drip, that it might be anxiety, that it's simply a consequence of getting older. They have taken antihistamines that barely helped. They have used nasal sprays that gave them temporary relief and nothing more. And they have all arrived at the same point of quiet exhaustion. Here is my promise to you today. By the end of this video, you are going to understand the true biological mechanism behind your chronic throat mucus. You are going to understand why it is so stubborn, why it always comes back, and why treating your throat directly has never been the answer. And you are going to leave here with a specific, evidence-informed plan, things you can actually begin doing today that address the real source of the problem, rather than just the symptoms sitting on the surface. The most important information is coming up very soon. Please do not click away. But before we get there, I want to acknowledge something. You have not been passive about this. You have tried things. I know you have. You have had the hot lemon and honey drinks. You have gone through multiple boxes of throat lozenges. You have tried steam inhalation, maybe a humidifier on your bedside table. You have taken antihistamines, the drowsy kind, the non-drowsy kind, and noticed that at best they took the edge off for a day or two. Some of you have tried cutting dairy because someone told you it thickens mucus. Some of you have done nasal rinses every single morning. A few of you have been prescribed steroid nasal sprays that helped your nose feel clearer, but did absolutely nothing for that persistent thickness at the back of your throat. And perhaps the most frustrating thing of all, you went to a doctor, described this exact symptom in detail, and left the appointment with either a prescription you had already tried or a vague reassurance that it was nothing serious. Here's why none of it has worked, and I want you to really absorb this. Every single one of those approaches is aimed at the throat, at the nose, at the upper respiratory system. Every remedy, every spray, every lozenge, every cup of soothing tea, they are all working on the place where the mucus appears. But the mucus is not the disease. The mucus is the alarm bell, and you cannot silence an alarm by putting your hands over your ears. You have to find what set it off. The reason your throat keeps producing mucus is not because there is something wrong with your throat. Your throat is doing exactly what it is designed to do. It is responding to an ongoing irritation from somewhere else entirely. And that somewhere else is almost certainly your digestive system. The condition behind most cases of chronic throat mucus that do not follow a seasonal pattern and do not respond to allergy treatments is called laryngopharyngeal reflux. It is also sometimes called LPR, or more commonly, silent reflux. And I want to spend real time here, because understanding this properly is what makes the difference between finally getting better and continuing to chase the wrong solutions. When most people hear the word reflux, they think of heartburn, that burning sensation in the chest after a rich meal, that familiar acid taste rising in the throat. But here's the crucial point. Silent reflux often produces none of those classic symptoms. No burning chest, no obvious acid taste. Researchers estimate that over half of the people living with laryngopharyngeal reflux have never experienced a single episode of heartburn. That is exactly why it goes undetected for so long. It is quiet. It sneaks through without the warning signs you would expect. And so people spend months, sometimes years, being investigated for allergies and sinus problems, while the real issue continues undisturbed. So let me explain exactly what is happening in your body, in plain language. Between your stomach and the tube that connects it to your throat, your esophagus, there is a muscular valve. Think of it as a one-way gate. Its entire job is to open briefly when you swallow food, and then seal shut to keep the powerful digestive acid locked inside your stomach, where it belongs. When this valve is young and healthy and functioning properly, it does this job effortlessly. But as we get older, and as certain habits accumulate over years, eating late at night, carrying extra weight around the midsection, a history of large heavy meals, or chronic stress, that valve begins to lose its firmness. It does not close as completely as it once did. During the day when you are upright and gravity is doing its job, you might not notice anything at all. But when you lie down at night, gravity is neutralized. And from that slightly weakened valve, something begins to escape. Not always a dramatic wave of acid. What rises is often far subtler, a fine acidic mist, a vapor so light that you feel nothing as it travels upward through your esophagus. But it keeps moving, and it eventually reaches your throat, your larynx, your pharynx, the delicate tissues at the very back of your mouth, which are among the most sensitive and acid-vulnerable structures in your entire body. Your stomach lining is built to handle acid every minute of every day. It has a thick, specialized protective coating. Your throat has none of that. Zero. It was never designed to encounter acid at all. So when that acidic mist touches these tissues night after night, while you are sleeping, completely unaware, it creates a persistent, low-grade chemical burn on tissue that cannot defend itself. Your body's response is logical and immediate. It launches a protective mechanism. Your throat begins producing thick mucus to coat those irritated surfaces, to build a physical barrier between the vulnerable tissue and the ongoing assault. That mucus you have been clearing from your throat every single day is not a disease. It is your body's defense. Your throat is trying to protect itself because it knows it is being attacked, even if you do not. And this is precisely why clearing your throat never gives lasting relief. The moment the mucus is gone, the irritation is still there. So the body replaces the protective coating immediately. You are stuck in an endless loop, winning every individual battle, but losing the war, because the battle was never in your throat. Now I want to tell you about one more piece of this puzzle, because it explains why certain foods and drinks make your throat feel dramatically worse, and why this matters for the solution. Your stomach contains a powerful protein-digesting enzyme called pepsin. Its job is to break down the proteins in your food, and inside the stomach it performs this role perfectly. But during silent reflux episodes, pepsin travels up with the acidic vapor and physically deposits itself onto the lining of your throat. It settles there and goes dormant, almost like a sleeping chemical waiting for a trigger. The trigger that wakes pepsin up is acidity. Anytime you consume something acidic, your morning coffee, a glass of orange juice, a fizzy drink, a tomato-based meal, even certain teas, that acid reaches your throat and activates the pepsin sitting there. And because there are no food proteins in your throat for the pepsin to work on, it turns to the next available source, the proteins in your own throat tissue. It begins to slowly degrade the very lining it is resting on. Your body senses this damage, responds with alarm, and floods the area with even more protective mucus. The cycle accelerates, and every morning you wake up feeling like the problem has somehow gotten worse overnight. Because in a very real sense, it has. This is the mechanism. This is what has been happening while you slept, while you drank your morning juice, while you tried remedy after remedy, aimed at the wrong place. And now that you can see it clearly, the solutions are going to make complete sense. I want to share the story of a patient I will call Patricia. She is 68, a retired school administrator, and she came to see me after 2 full years of feeling like there was a permanent lump sitting at the back of her throat. 2 years of clearing her throat through conversations, through meals, through phone calls with her grandchildren, through quiet moments she simply could not enjoy. She had seen 3 different doctors. She had received 2 separate antihistamine prescriptions and a nasal spray. One doctor had gently suggested the problem might be psychological. When Patricia sat across from me, I asked her a series of questions that none of the previous doctors had asked. What time did she eat dinner? Around 7 in the evening. What time did she lie down? Generally by 9:30. How did she sleep? Flat on her back. What did she have first thing each morning? A large glass of grapefruit juice, because she believed it was good for her immune system. Every single one of those answers was pointing in the same direction. We addressed the silent reflux systematically, and I will walk you through exactly how in just a moment. 6 weeks later, Patricia sent a message saying that for the first time in 2 years, she had woken up 3 mornings in a row with a throat that felt genuinely, noticeably clearer. By the 8th week, she described the overall improvement as life-changing, not because we had done anything complex or expensive, but because for the first time we had addressed what was actually wrong. If any part of this story sounds like your life, I want you to drop a comment below right now. Tell me how long you have been living with this and whether any doctor has ever mentioned laryngopharyngeal reflux or silent reflux to you before today. I read every comment, and your experience matters. So let us talk about what you can actually do, because this is where everything we have covered starts to become real and practical. Here is your plan, and you can begin tonight. The first and most powerful change is to elevate the head of your entire bed, not your pillow. I want to be very clear about this. Stacking pillows under your head only bends your neck forward and can actually make the situation worse. What you need is to raise your whole upper body on a gentle incline so gravity continues working in your favor while you sleep. Place something firm and stable under the legs at the head of your bed. Thick hardback books, wooden blocks, or purpose-made risers will all work, aiming for roughly 6 to 8 inches of height. A specially designed wedge pillow that supports the entire upper back is another option worth considering. This adjustment alone has produced meaningful improvement in many of my patients within the first week, simply by keeping the stomach valve elevated above the stomach contents while you sleep. The second change is to shift to sleeping on your left side. The stomach sits slightly to the left of center in the body, and its shape means that lying on the left side naturally keeps its contents lower and further from the valve at the top. If you currently sleep on your right side or your back, making this shift is a cost-free adjustment with genuine physiological reasoning behind it. Third, establish a firm eating cutoff before bed. Give yourself a minimum of 2.5 to 3 hours between your last meal or snack and the moment you lie down. Your stomach needs that window to process its contents and reduce its acid load before gravity stops working in your favor. I understand this is a significant habit change for many people, particularly those who enjoy a light snack in the evening or who drift off on the sofa after dinner. But this single adjustment is among the most impactful changes you can make, and its effects compound quickly when combined with elevating your bed. Fourth, begin identifying and reducing your personal trigger foods. The main offenders my patients consistently report are coffee and other caffeinated drinks, alcohol in any amount, carbonated drinks including sparkling water, chocolate, peppermint, which despite feeling soothing, actually relaxes the stomach valve and worsens reflux, citrus fruits and juices, tomatoes and tomato sauces, spicy food, and anything deep-fried or heavily processed. I am not asking you to give these up forever or all at once. What I am asking you to try is a genuine 4-week experiment. Reduce them significantly and observe honestly whether your throat responds. You will learn more about your own physiology from that experiment than any test I could order. On the positive side, chamomile tea, oatmeal, ginger tea made from real ginger root, lean proteins, and cooked non-citrus vegetables tend to be well tolerated and genuinely supportive. Fifth, start a morning baking soda gargle. Each morning before you eat or drink anything, dissolve 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of plain baking soda in a warm glass of water and gargle gently for 30 seconds. Do not swallow it. Baking soda is alkaline and temporarily neutralizes the acidic environment sitting in your throat from overnight reflux. It can also help deactivate the pepsin that has been deposited on your throat tissue while you slept. Think of it as resetting your throat's chemistry before you introduce anything that could restart the damage cycle. It costs almost nothing, and many patients describe noticing a real difference within the first few days of making it part of their morning routine. Sixth, and I want you to take this as seriously as any other step on this list, treat stress reduction as part of your medical treatment. Chronic stress measurably increases stomach acid production and negatively affects the function of the stomach valve. If you are carrying significant, ongoing psychological stress and are not actively managing it, your body is quietly working against every other change you make here. A daily walk, intentional breathing exercises, meaningful rest, time with people who restore you, prayer or meditation, these are not soft suggestions. For someone with laryngopharyngeal reflux, they are physiologically relevant components of the treatment. Include them. Before we wrap up, I want to be clear about something important. Please do not stop taking any medication your own doctor has prescribed based on anything in this video. What I have shared today is educational information designed to help you understand what may be happening and to give you a framework of lifestyle adjustments to begin with. It is not a substitute for personal medical evaluation. If you apply these strategies consistently for 4 to 6 weeks and are not experiencing meaningful improvement, please bring the term laryngopharyngeal reflux specifically to your doctor's attention. Ask whether it can be the underlying cause of your symptoms. There are evaluation tools and treatment approaches beyond lifestyle modification, and your doctor is the right person to guide you through those options. And now, I have a genuine question for you. Has any doctor ever mentioned silent reflux or LPR to you before today? Or were you given allergy medication and sent on your way? Tell me honestly in the comments. I read them all, and every single response helps me understand what people are actually experiencing out in the world versus what they are being told in the clinic. If this video has shifted how you understand your own situation, please hit the like button. It is a small thing that helps this information reach the people who need it most. Let me leave you with the clearest possible summary of what we have covered today. That thick, stubborn, endlessly recurring mucus in your throat is not a throat problem, a sinus problem, or an allergy problem. It is your throat's protective response to a continuous low-grade chemical irritation caused by silent reflux, acidic vapor, and a digestive enzyme called pepsin reaching your throat night after night while you sleep, causing microdamage that your body attempts to shield with mucus. Every remedy aimed at your throat treats the symptom and ignores the source. That is why nothing has worked. The path forward is to reduce the underlying reflux and give your throat the conditions it needs to stop defending itself and begin to heal. Your starting plan tonight: raise the head of your bed. Do not eat within 3 hours of lying down. Shift to sleeping on your left side. Begin pulling back on the key triggers: coffee, citrus, alcohol, fizzy drinks. Start the morning baking soda gargle. And treat stress reduction as part of your treatment plan, not an optional extra. Give this consistent effort over 4 to 6 weeks. Healing after months or years of this cycle does not happen overnight. But when you are finally addressing the actual source rather than the symptom, most people do begin to notice a real shift. Mornings that feel a little lighter, a gradual quieting of the constant urge to clear the throat, a growing sense that something has changed at the level that actually matters. You have been carrying this for long enough. You now know what you are actually dealing with, and knowing that changes everything. Leave me a comment with your experience. Subscribe if you want this kind of detailed, genuinely useful health content coming to you regularly. And do not miss my next video, where I reveal the specific everyday foods that are secretly keeping your reflux active, even when you think you are eating well, including several that carry a healthy reputation and fool people completely. I will see you in the next one.